Okay, so hello. So today I'm going to share with you guys why Uncle Simon Sinek is heavily underappreciated. Right now, this is gonna be a short video. I don't really have a long essay for you guys today. I'm just gonna share 2 points about why Uncle Simon is heavily underappreciated. It's probably critically rated very well, but it's like need way more people to appreciate Uncle Simon. So the first reason is that his tone is very gentle and doesn't let his listeners feel very condescending. Right? He's verbally humble, and speech-wise, he's not actively disrespecting others' boundaries. Right? If you're comparing something to someone like Uncle Simon, right, and Uncle Neil deGrasse Tyson, right, I would always pick Uncle Simon any day of the week, almost any day of the week, right? Obviously, it depends on what kind of wisdom you're dealing with, but most of the time I always will listen to Uncle Simon. Like, obviously we try not to be disrespectful, but I personally, how I would disrespect Uncle Neil deGrasse Tyson? I would just literally call his name Neil deGrasse Tyson because that's how I feel, how much disrespect I feel about Uncle Neil. Right? Uncle Simon is just much more gentle when it comes to speaking and how he conveys knowledge and information. The other thing is that there was something I wanted to share with you guys today is that actually there were quite a good number of wisdom that I believe is very helpful for you know his listeners. Like for example, I don't have many examples. I only have one, but this just one itself is pretty, very, what he said was right, and it's not condescending. So here is something. Here is a short he did. It's called "Difference Between Authorities and Leaders." Simon Sinek motivational speech. Hashtag motivation. Hashtag success. And this is the video, right? Okay, here we go.
I know many people have told you leadership is a choice. It is not a rank. I know many people at the senior-most levels of organizations who are absolutely not leaders. They are authority. And we do what they say because they have authority over us.
True.
We would not want them.
Yeah. Like I said, most people, they seem to have a lot of power over our survival, over our visualization of success, whether directly or indirectly. Right? I
I
do
know many
believe
people
many people can agree on
at the
that.
bottoms of organizations who have no authority, and they are absolutely leaders. And this is because they have chosen to look after the person to the left of them, and they have chosen to look after the person to the right of them.
Right? I think that's pretty important. Obviously, there are also I do want to believe there are also a number of people who can get high rank and also are true leaders. That is indeed possible. I haven't found any living examples yet, but I do believe it is possible. But at the very least, that is the exception, not the rule, right? Most leaders, actual leaders, you will see at the bottom of organizations, because the core principle that I believe is that a true leader is someone who is not shameful in pursuing what you want, in chasing after what you want to pursue, but they will always uh, take the wisest action out of it. So that is the core principle of a true leader, which is why most leaders are usually at the bottom of organizations, because there are many challenges when it comes to um, going after what you want to pursue, right? You need, when it comes to making wise decisions, there are way too many obstacles for people to accumulate a astronomical amount of resources, right? It's not impossible to get rich and you're being a wise person, but most people, I know from, stories, fantasy stories, right, from my religion, they tend to be at the more bottom of the organizations. There are exceptions, obviously. There are not just one or two, but multiple. But like I said, the majority is more likely at the bottom instead of at the top, because of this natural law, right? Someone like Uncle Andrew, right? Andrew Tate is an authority. He's not a leader, right? That he does have a good piece of advice every now and then, which is good. But like I would argue he's more of a authority than a leader. Uncle Simon Sinek is himself a leader, right? And this is what I wanted to say, why Uncle Simon Sinek is heavily underappreciated. So this is the end of today's video. Thank you very much.